my assistant, and we are here today to talk about posture, confidence, personality, what the studies show, and some connections. So we're just joining in with different topics. We're happy to answer questions, but we have a topic so we can go over some really interesting stuff about posture. Okay, so let's talk about the posture therapy method I use is the Egoscue method, and Pete Egoscue is the man who created it. And so in his books, he talks about 3 common postures, and with them are some common personalities that go together. So what he talks about is a condition 1 posture, is somebody who tends to have their pelvis tilted forward. I'm not going to stand up because I think I'm going to cut off my head. A little bit more upright. Their head may be leaning forward. Their feet are more turned out. But in general, they are also represent what they would we call a fact finder. They're a little bit more rigid in their thinking, kind of have your beliefs set in on what you believe works. They tend to rely on the information that they get, like an MRI or an X-ray, kind of what the doctor says is fact. And when we do posture therapy, there is what information you get from an MRI and an X-ray, but there's also what are you feeling within your body. We call those like the internal facts. And so you might have an ankle pain and a hip pain, and the doctor will say they're not related at all. However, you may know that you sprained your ankle and 6 months later your hip started hurting and you feel a little twisted. So internally your body is giving you some information about that. So it takes time to kind of connect what you're feeling with that personality from what you're learning in posture therapy about your body. So let's talk about the second type of posture is what we call condition 2, and they are imbalanced from right to left. Like maybe your shoulders are uneven or your hips are uneven. You may be sort of twisted, and then they tend to represent more of a skeptic. So they're a little more, and again, a lot of people will cross over into a condition 2, even if they're a condition 1 or a condition 3. Most of us have some sort of imbalance. So we might all have a little bit of a skeptic in us. So the skeptic brings doubt that we might do some exercises and stand up and check something about your posture, and you may not trust what you're feeling, that it wasn't a big enough change or something like that. So these are all interesting things, and it carries over sort of into life too when you understand how your posture is and how you're perceiving things around you. And then there's the third one, which is the pelvis is more tucked under, a little more rounded and slouched. And so this person has been through a lot of things in their life that have created fear and anxiety or pain. And so you may likely have experienced many injuries over time. And so there's a little bit of like a defeat feeling of kind of sinking into your posture. So those are a little bit of the background of some basics. There's one more pattern that I think I've kind of seen quite a few people that has also been talked about, and that's when somebody stands up and they're kind of leaning forward and the weight's on the balls of their feet.
That's me.
And that's Shayna, which goes with, so it's a go-getter. It's a person that's go-getter, but there's an interesting fact that goes with that they're also worrying more about the future, so a little less staying in the present.
Accurate.
Okay. And I think I'm a combo, honestly, of, I think
A couple.
Yeah, I have a little bit of scoliosis, and I almost feel like one side of my body is doing sort of one posture in my hips and then the other, so I do feel very much a mixture of these things. So it's kind of, it's interesting to look at the physical aspect of yourself, but then the personality and how that affects your healing and getting rid of any symptoms. So condition 1 is someone who kind of has that arch in your back when you have a big arch back here. Feet are more turned out, but you might still have a little bit of a rounding and forward head. So that's the first one. That's the fact finder who really likes their external facts. You like the exercises, that you know what you're comfortable with, but you might be having a pain that you can't quite solve, and there's some discovery to be done to learn a little bit more, to trust internally what are you feeling. And then if we go to condition 2, they're more imbalanced right to left. So again, could be hip up, shoulder up, or rotated. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It could be, you can't see my feet as well. Now we're giving a feet view. It could be that one foot's turning out more than the other. All these things are the imbalances right to left. Okay, you can go back up. And so again, this is the skeptic who sort of doubts things in general. And I think that really has to do with the two sides. It's kind of like you're feeling one thing one way, one thing another way, and you're kind of like, what do I trust? And so as we center these postures and get more balanced, I think there's, with all this, we can talk about the confidence and the trust in yourself and the good hormones flowing through that will be more balanced, allow you to approach life a little bit easier and probably do activities you like to do more. Hopefully achieving goals that you want. For me, it's more hiking, a lot longer walking, stuff like that. Now let's go over that third person. That third posture is the rounded and slouched, more like this, a little more sunk into themselves. And again, you may only have parts of this posture, but again, that tends to be a little bit more fear, anxiety, a little pessimism. Maybe you've experienced a lot of pains over the years, and so that kind of all goes together. But it is amazing that as somebody changes that posture and can get the pelvic in a more neutral position and get more oxygen flowing through their system better, more energy comes, more ability to believe in yourself, and sort of being, again, it comes back to that being in the present moment, enjoying what you're doing. There's a big metabolic connection to that condition 3, meaning when you're here, we don't have as much energy because things aren't flowing through the body as well. And so we don't move as much, it's harder to move, don't have energy, so it sort of feeds itself into a cycle. So again, working on that posture helps get better oxygen. And again, when I say, I just want to reiterate, when I say working on the posture, it is partly standing up tall, but it is also if you're stuck here because certain muscles are pulling tight and your pelvis won't move, that's what we're working through in the posture therapy, is we're kind of discovering where things aren't moving right and getting it to move better so you can really comfortably achieve the posture and hold the endurance in that position longer. So, okay, so hopefully that ties up a little bit about the posture and personality and confidence talk today. So I hope you have a great weekend, and thank you for being here.